In programming, the distinction is even more important between integers and reals because they are represented in different ways in computer's memory. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the complete Java developer course. So, integers are stored exactly, while reals are stored as approximations with limited number of digits of accuracy. You will see that storing values or approximations can lead to round-off errors when you use real values. The name double for real values is not very intuitive. The C programming language introduced the type called float. It's short for floating point number. So, if we go back to this image, we see that the four types of integer, short, byte, and long we have introduced, and we learned in the previous video about them. We have two decimal types: the float and double. The float has a size of 32 bits, while the double is 64 bits, which means that double can store more values, more decimal values, and from this number, the float, to this number, and the double from this number to this number. And so the float, we learned that the double is storing more than float. It can contain more than the float in decimal points and numbers. In order to create the variable of type float, we type float and we name it as whatever you want. I will name it f variable equal, and you specify like 13.67. And in the floats and doubles, there is very important thing that you need to end the number with the letter F in case of float, and double, and D in case of double. In order to create double, you can create the variable name. Our variable name is D variable. The type is double, and we are assigning a value of it to it, D. So this is how we create float, and this is how to create double. The difference is in the size and the capability of storing information. Okay. In order to print the variables, in the same way, we put system.out.print. So in Java, you can use this in order to print variables. Float equal, and as I told you, f variable. You see, guys, in order to use and print the value of a variable, we use the plus sign. Again, system.out.print double equal double the variable. Okay, it's the same. If you put spaces here, it's same as this, and it is reading directly after this space. Okay, so let's run and see. And here we go. We have the float, and we have the double. Okay, very important note about creating variables. You cannot create there are reserved words in Java, so you can't create a variable of type float or integer or whatever you want. I name it as integer. You can't. Or I can name Java. Sorry, like this. In Java, like enum. I can't. Float, int, double. All these reserved word, class. I can't rename them. Okay. In order to use it, you can write whatever you want and numbers without using any special characters. You can use the underscore. So this underscore, this is type of variable, name of variable. You can specify h like this, capitals, but it is very preferred that you create the variables with small letters. So in order to be professional coder, you need to learn it, to start learning in a professional way. So create always variables with small letter. Okay. Starting in numbers, it's not allowed. So if you need to write number, you can make like this and you specify the numbers after that, or you can type one letter and you specify the numbers. So you can't start with numbers, always start with letters and small letters. Okay, now let's move to the last two types. We have the Boolean and we have the character. These are the 8 primitive variables. So in order to create a character x equal to, and it's very important that the character is included between single quotations, and you specify one letter, not 2 letters. Okay, we will learn about characters later on a very concrete and very standalone lesson, so don't worry. We will make also practice about characters because it's a special case of the primitive data, and we will learn more about it. You can specify also like these special characters and so on. You can put J. And the type Boolean K equal Boolean B equal to true. There are 2 values of the Boolean. It's a kind of variable that stores only 2 types, 2 values, either true or false. It can't be any other thing. It's just used for making as a switch, as on and off, it is true or false. So, and we will later use this Boolean in many projects. So I need to print out ln here. Ln, as I told you, it's to the new line. Okay, system.out.print ln Boolean equal to b, specifying the name of the variable, and system.out.print ln the character equal to char x. Okay, so it's very important to understand the primitive data types that you have in Java, and these are in the printing way. So we have learned in the previous video and in this video how to create the 8 primitive data types. We have learned how to create them, how to assign the value for them, and we learned the default values for the Boolean false. The character is this Unicode character. Byte, short, int, long, float, and double is zeros. And we have learned the range and the difference between the float and double, the difference between int, byte, short, long, and we have introduced the character and the Boolean. So next videos we will start making these more and more complex, and introduce the operators, so we can make operations between the variables, between different variables, and we will start assigning homeworks and start making practices and more real examples on coding. So thank you guys. I hope you see in the next videos. Please rate us 5 stars on Udemy.